Question 1. A company uses Azure Automation to manage its cloud resources, but also needs to automate tasks on several on-premises Windows servers. Which Azure Automation feature should be implemented to allow runbooks to execute tasks directly on these on-premises machines? Option A. Azure Logic Apps Integration. Option B. Azure Functions. Option C. Hybrid Runbook Worker. Option D. Automation Schedules. The correct answer is Hybrid Runbook Worker. Here's the explanation. The Hybrid Runbook Worker is specifically designed to extend Azure Automation's capabilities to non-Azure environments, allowing runbooks to execute on machines located outside of Azure, such as on-premises servers. Question 2. A PowerShell runbook needs to connect to an Azure SQL database using a username and password. To ensure secure storage and access to these credentials within the runbook, which Azure Automation asset should be utilized? Option A. Variables. Option B. Certificates. Option C. Connections. Option D. Credentials. The correct answer is Credentials. Here's the explanation. Azure Automation Credentials assets are specifically designed to securely store usernames and passwords for use within runbooks, preventing sensitive information from being hard-coded. Question 3. When an Azure Automation runbook is triggered to manage Azure resources, what is the typical execution environment for the runbook job, and what is the recommended method for it to authenticate securely to Azure resources? Option A. A dedicated Azure VM, storing credentials in runbook code. Option B. An isolated Azure Sandbox environment, managed identity. Option C. An Azure Function app, shared access signatures. Option D. A hybrid runbook worker, hard-coded API keys. The correct answer is an isolated Azure Sandbox environment, managed identity. Here's the explanation. Runbooks targeting Azure resources typically execute in a secure, isolated Azure Sandbox environment provided by the automation service. Managed identities are the recommended and most secure way for runbooks to authenticate to Azure resources without storing credentials. Question 4. What is the primary difference in behavior between a security group, SG, and a network access control list, NACL, regarding their statefulness? Option A. SGs are stateless, requiring explicit rules for both inbound and outbound traffic, while NACLs are stateful. Option B. SGs are stateful, automatically allowing return traffic for established connections, while NACLs are stateless. Option C. Both SGs and NACLs are entirely stateless, processing each packet independently. Option D. Both SGs and NACLs are entirely stateful, tracking all connection states. The correct answer is SGs are stateful, automatically allowing return traffic for established connections, while NACLs are stateless. Here's the explanation. Security groups are stateful firewalls, meaning they remember return traffic. If outbound traffic is allowed, the corresponding inbound return traffic is automatically permitted. NACLs, however, are stateless, treating inbound and outbound rules independently and requiring explicit rules for both directions. Question 5. An instance in a private subnet needs to download software updates from the Internet, but should not be directly accessible from the Internet. Which networking component is designed to facilitate this outbound-only Internet access? Option A. Internet Gateway, IGW. Option B. Virtual Private Gateway, VPN. Option C. Network Access Control List, NACL. Option D. NAT Gateway. The correct answer is NAT Gateway. Here's the explanation. NAT gateways enable instances in private subnets to initiate outbound connections to the Internet while remaining inaccessible from the Internet, fulfilling the requirement for downloading updates without public exposure. Question 6. Which of the following is a key limitation of VPC peering when designing complex network topologies? Option A. It only allows communication between VPCs in the same AWS region. Option B. It is non-transitive, meaning VPC A peered with B and B with C does not mean A can talk to C directly. Option C. It supports overlapping CIDR blocks between peered VPCs. Option D. It requires a dedicated physical connection like Direct Connect. The correct answer is, it is non-transitive, meaning VPC A peered with B and B with C does not mean A can talk to C directly. Here's the explanation. VPC peering is non-transitive, which means that if VPC-A is peered with VPC-B and VPC-B is peered with VPC-C, VPC-A cannot directly communicate with VPC-C. This becomes a significant limitation in complex hub-and-spoke or mesh topologies, often leading to the use of transit gateway for scalability. Question 7. A security administrator wants to control inbound and outbound network traffic to a subnet containing several web servers in an Azure VNet. Which Azure networking component should they configure? Option A. Azure Firewall. Option B. Network Security Group, NSG. Option C. Azure Load Balancer. Option D. User-Defined Route, UDR. The correct answer is Network Security Group, NSG. Here's the explanation. Network Security Groups, NSGs, are stateful packet filtering firewalls that control inbound and outbound traffic at the subnet or individual network interface (NIC) level, using 5-tuple rules. Azure Firewall is a more advanced, centralized firewall service, but NSGs are the fundamental component for subnet-level traffic control. Question 8. VNet A is peered with VNet B, and VNet B is peered with VNet C. If resources in VNet A need to communicate with resources in VNet C, what additional configuration is required? Option A. No additional configuration is needed. VNet peering is transitive by default. Option B. A VPN gateway must be configured between VNet A and VNet C. Option C. VNet A must be explicitly peered with VNet C. Option D. A network security group rule must be added to allow traffic between VNet A and VNet C. The correct answer is VNet A must be explicitly peered with VNet C. Here's the explanation. VNet peering is non-transitive. This means that if VNet A is peered with VNet B and VNet B is peered with VNet C, VNet A cannot directly communicate with VNet C without an explicit peering connection between VNet A and VNet C. Question 9. An organization wants to securely connect their Azure VNet to an Azure storage account, ensuring traffic does not traverse the public internet, and the storage account appears to be part of their VNet with a private IP address. Which Azure networking feature best achieves this? Option A. Service endpoints. Option B. Network security groups, NSGs. Option C. VNet peering. Option D. Azure Private Link. The correct answer is Azure Private Link. Here's the explanation. Azure Private Link provides private connectivity from your VNet to Azure PaaS services by assigning a private IP address from your VNet to the PaaS service, making it appear as if the service is hosted directly within your network and ensuring traffic bypasses the public internet. Service endpoints extend VNet identity to the PaaS service, but do not assign a private IP from the VNet to the service itself. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.